I'm filtering water right now, and my hands are in physically so much pain just because it's cold. Like, oh my gosh, they hurt so bad. I don't know why that happens. Like, the nerves are on fire, but like, good morning. It is almost 8 a.m., so my latest start, and I'm still the first one out of camp. Everyone had the same idea of staying in their sleeping bags for as long as possible because it's so cold. I think it was a low of 33. Nothing froze, but the GPS says it did get down to the low 30s. I don't know what I would do with 20s because this is plenty cold. I'm hiking with every single layer except for my puffy, and I'm regretting not wearing my puffy. So it's gonna be a cold day. So today it's up and down all day, which I'm hoping is good for my feet, so get some variety. Really hoping for no blowdowns, because that was what really hurt yesterday when you had to scramble around the trees. I'm pretty much committed to 16 miles. There's really nothing else I can do. It's a 16-mile dry stretch, and it's all ridge walking, and there's no real camping, so the first campsite in water is in 16 miles, so that's what I'm aiming for, and kind of don't have a choice, so hopefully my body cooperates. Still cold. We're getting an unusual kind of hail this morning. Small pieces of ice are falling from the trees, from presumably the branches, and the wind is now blowing them off and onto us. Just look how much of it there is, all from the trees. This is crazy. You can go ahead of me. Sorry, I'm just taking some pictures of these. Yes, that is ice on the reeds. I've never seen this before. It's white with ice. This California girl has never seen anything like this. Snow, yes. But I've never been in the mountains for it to be hailing ice from the trees. Still in all my layers, like 2 miles later, by the way. So I was talking to my Canadian hiking friend. He said he thought all of this is because of the fog that rolled in yesterday and that it froze on the plants. And apparently, he's from Ontario. This is pretty rare there still. So I feel like you have to have very specific weather conditions to have no snow, to have this ice everywhere. There's so much of it, it looks like snow, but it isn't. It's all ice. It is beautiful out here today, even though it is so cold. Some places in the sun, there's now green to be seen, so hoping in the next... Ow! Okay, I just got hailed on with the ice and it hurt. Hit me in the temple. Ouch. It's a hard balance today. I haven't taken any breaks yet because it's just been too cold to take breaks, but I'm still physically exerting myself, but I don't want to be cold in a break. I need to take a break eventually and just suck it up. Okay, I found a wind-free sunny spot. Spot as good as it's gonna get. I'm just gonna stay here for a few minutes, just to rest my feet. The race is on. There's a group, a trail family, I guess, of 5 hikers. We call them the New Zealand group, even though only 2 people are from New Zealand. Anyways, they all hike the same speed, which is quite fast, and they always like pass me and stuff. And they had just passed me, but then they all just sat down to take a break. So now the race is on to see how long can I stay in front of them until they pass me again, because they are a lot faster than I am. All really cool people, by the way, and we've been camping at actually the same spot the last like 2 nights, but definitely wouldn't consider myself part of their group because they are just so fast, and I know that pretty soon they will leave me in the dust as far as mileage too. We are ridge walking all day long, I think, which is very beautiful. Makes it very hard to find a good place to use the restroom though. I'm on a roll this morning. I've made like 5 tic-tac-toe boards already. Hopefully other people are playing with me behind me. It's going to be an amazing view around this corner. I can just tell. Okay, so it's a little blocked by the trees, but it's still amazing. 3 hours later, still in every single layer. There's the gold one, folks. How do I feel about hiking in the woods? It's pine. I'm making a horrible time today due to sheer laziness and getting distracted. I've done 6 miles and it's already 10:40. Oopsies. I have to do 60 no matter what, so it's gonna be all late fun, I think. Literally 3 minutes later, I'm gonna take another break because I found some picnic tables. Worth it. But seriously, I'm only allowed to stay here for less than 15 minutes, or else. Three hours later, I finally switched from my long sleeping sleeves to my hiking short sleeve shirt, and kind of regretting it, but it was finally warm enough that I didn't want to sweat into my sleeping clothes. Still wearing my sleeping pants though. Still very, very cool. So there's been a development. I was able to check the weather, and not only is it going to be a low of 24 tonight, it's also supposed to snow quite a bit tomorrow. Now, I was okay, not super comfortable, but warm enough at 33. So 8 degrees colder. Seems pretty cold. I'm gonna have to get a little creative with my layers. The snow is also a potential concern. However, right now it's supposed to only really start at like 10, and I'll almost be into Big Bear tomorrow. So if I do 16 today, then I only have 10 miles into Big Bear. I definitely can't do 26 today, so that's out of the question. Some other people, there's a road in 3 miles. They're choosing to hitch into town early. I'm kind of leaning against that since I've already had to skip like 12 miles due to injury. I don't want to skip more miles, and it's one thing if it was just snowing in the middle of nowhere, but like I'm on my way to town tomorrow, and I'm also, sorry, I got really windy. I'm also descending a little bit tomorrow, so I think I'm leaning towards staying up here, but it's definitely up in the air a little bit. I might do what everyone else is doing, because there's also safety in numbers. Definitely have to get creative tonight. Like, I don't know, maybe use my Tyvek as an insulating layer over my down instead of underneath or something, because I have a X-Therm, so I don't have a problem from the ground. I don't know, we'll see. Man, I gotta say, it's pretty tempting to hitch early into town. Not to skip the miles, but I was looking at the mileage, and from the point that you could hitch into town, you could also obviously hitch back, and it's 16 miles from there to the spot where people usually get off, and the weather is good after tomorrow. So it is pretty tempting to hitch into town today, take a 0 tomorrow. I was always planning on doing a 0 at some point in Big Bear, and then on Thursday doing these miles, and then you can go back in and resupply, so you'd only have to carry 1 day of food to do those 16 days of miles, and then do it again. I don't know. So we ended up going into town early. It just made more sense. We were going to take a 0 in Big Bear anyways, so might as well take the 0 on a bad weather day rather than a good weather day. Also, so I told the New Zealand group about the weather, and then they pretty quickly decided that they would take a 0 early and then hitch back to the same spot on the trail. And then they're like, oh, do you want to split an Airbnb with us? And then that just sounded really fun. So peer pressure, I was like, okay. So we walked half a mile off the road, hitched into town at around mile 250. So now we're spending the day here today as a 0, and then tomorrow morning we're gonna hitch back to mile 250 and just keep hiking from there. All it does is add an extra day of food, so I'm gonna be carrying 6 days of food, but that's okay. It's pretty easy terrain, mostly downhill. Definitely happy with the choice that I didn't have to sleep with like 25 degrees at night. It's gonna be warmer every day from now on this week. Like each day is a little warmer, so it's been good. Plus my foot was hurting a little bit anyways, so perfect time to heal it rather than keep walking on it. So yeah, I'm heading up the Big 5, which is huge. I need a new fuel canister, and I might pick up some warm gloves or something. We'll see. Well, the next 2 nights are supposed to also be kind of cold, so figured I'd use these, and then hopefully by then I'll be more in lower elevation. It'll be better. And this is why we zeroed. So glad that I'm not on a mountain right now. This is really fun for me as a California girl who does not live in the mountains, because it's very snowing. Snowing a lot, that's bad grammar. But I'm also gonna be warm when I'm inside. Look, it's landing in my hand and my mouth. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. I wasn't expecting the snow to just stay on me like this.